This week on Ebert and Roeper, Mel Gibson's faith is challenged by mysterious signs.
Also, Hitman Tim Allen targets Christian Slater, and who is Cletis tout?
And Mike Myers sinks those bad British teeth into a shagadelic caper in Austin Powers in Goldmember.
Hey, everybody, I am from Holland. Isn't that weird?
The international man of mystery faces a flaky Dutch enemy in Austin Powers and Goldmember. It's coming up later in the show, one of 5 new movies we review this week. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. Our first movie is Signs from M. Night Shyamalan, the writer-director of The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. And I hope this guy's got another 30 films in him because I love his creative bravery. This is another meticulously crafted supernatural thriller with a sly sensibility and some really big ideas. Mel Gibson plays Pennsylvania farmer Graham Hess, a former man of the cloth who lost his faith after his wife was killed by a car. Joaquin Phoenix is his brother. These crop circles are appearing all over the world. Some reports indicate the circles are guideposts for invading aliens, but Graham wants to believe they're the work of publicity-seeking hoaxers.
You're wasting your time here. I'm not going to report this or anything you do to my crops.
Graham's 2 young children, played by Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin, have a much easier time making the leap of faith.
What if it's catching a signal from them?
It's not.
But it wasn't working.
Morgan, this crop stuff is about a bunch of nerds who never had a girlfriend in their lives. They're like 30 and they work up little codes together and they analyze Greek mythology and make up secret societies where other guys who never had girlfriends before can join in. They do stupid crap like this to feel special. It's a scam.
Even after it's apparent that something is happening that might forever alter the course of the world, Graham remains skeptical.
Dr. Bimbo, one of the authors of the book.
Bimbo?
Dad.
I just asked his name.
He had a tone. So there are 2 reasons why extraterrestrials visit us. To make contact in the spirit of exploration and furthering the knowledge of the universe. Or the other reason, they're hostile.
Despite the poster, Signs is not about crop circles any more than Changing Lanes is a movie about traffic. Shyamalan moves with a different gait than most filmmakers. Some find his pacing slow, but I appreciate the time he gives us to absorb all the possibilities, all the dreams, all the clues. This film is like a classic Twilight Zone episode with a few characters confined to a small space dealing with the possibility that the planet is being invaded. It's easy for a filmmaker to blow up the world, but what Shyamalan does is much riskier. He tries to blow our minds. I was engaged by every inch of Signs.
I was too, and in a way, this is like pure movie making because he doesn't use a lot of special effects. He doesn't use, well, he does use special effects, but not in the showy, explosive, laugh-a-minute kind of way. He uses them in order to create this quiet and this, he uses his soundtrack so carefully so that you hear the wind in the corn and you hear the silence and you hear Mel Gibson going downstairs and wondering what's happening, and he builds up the suspense so much just by what he doesn't show and by what he doesn't tell us that I was absolutely absorbed by the film.
Yeah, there's this feeling you have almost when you're watching this film, like when you're about to trip and you're going to either regain your balance or fall, that kind of suspended feeling, and I had that watching the film. Also, Mel Gibson, he's really good at playing these fiercely protective fathers. He was in The Patriot, he was in Ransom, he's a dad in real life, and I just think you really get a sense of him caring so much about these kids and wanting to protect them, but he's undergoing his own crisis as well during this film.
Yeah, there's that subterranean level because he's a former priest, apparently Episcopalian priest since he was married and had kids, who has lost his faith and who has a couple of really interesting philosophical speeches during the film. And then the crop circles and whatever they represent or don't represent caused him to have to confront his loss of faith in a very interesting way.
I really like the way Shyamalan writes and the way he executes his story. Nobody else is really doing exactly what he's doing.
The guy is a filmmaker. Okay, our next movie is The Country Bears, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's a comic mockumentary about a band that breaks up and then decides to hold a reunion concert, which is all well and good, except that the band members are all bears. Nobody in the movie makes a big deal about it, but I say it looks odd to see a big-time country music concert starring bears. I just think it looks odd. I guess other bears agreed because all of their fans are human. There are no bears in the audience. The hero of the movie is Barry Barrington, with a voice by Haley Joel Osment, who runs away from his human family when he discovers, what do you know, he was adopted. And so he makes a pilgrimage to Country Bear Hall, home of the band he idolizes.
Yeah, this place would fill up every weekend night.
Really?
I tell you, a lot of great music was on that stage. There's Flat and Scruggs, Living Lips McGraw, Gomer. Jimi Hendrix opened here for Vanilla Fudge. But nobody was like the Country Bears.
Alas, the legendary hall is behind on its payments, and an evil banker wants to repossess it and tear it down. He's played by Christopher Walken.
Hello, Reed. I thought you weren't coming back until you could tear the place down.
That's a whole 4 days away, Henry.
Country Bears was inspired by a popular stage show at Disneyland, and I suppose there is an audience for this movie, although I am not a candidate for that audience. I kept being distracted by irreverent questions such as, in the universe of this movie, are there also bears who eat campers in Yosemite? Last week we reviewed Stuart Little 2 about a mouse who lives in Manhattan. Now, all the humans in both of these pictures seem pretty nonchalant, but I think the actors deserve bonuses for not breaking up during every scene. You're acting with a bear or with a mouse, and you don't notice it.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's one kid in the family who keeps waiting for everybody to notice that they're bears, but you're right. It's just too strange, and the bears aren't very animated, so to speak. They just kind of move like this, and they move their instruments, and they play a little bit. I mean, and Christopher Walken, he's always fun to see, but it's sort of like a stripper showing up at a 12-year-old kid's birthday party. You're like, what is this guy doing here? You know, it just seems all wrong. So I guess they can sell VHS and DVD copies of this if you go down to wherever the Country Bears thing is in Disney World or anything. It's a strange movie. It's mildly amusing, but I certainly can't recommend it.
Okay, coming up later in the show, Mike Myers, Times 4, and Austin Powers in Goldmember.
I'm okay.
And also the romantic comedy, My Wife is an Actress.
And coming up next, 3 of the best new titles on home video.
Ebert and Roeper's Thumbs Up Video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
And the vision that was planted in my brain.
This very weekend, there's probably a college graduate floating on a rubber raft in a backyard pool somewhere while his parents wonder when he's going to take stock of himself. My thumbs up video selection is The Graduate, which was released 35 years ago and caused a major splash. It was the biggest commercial hit of 1967, receiving 6 major Oscar nominations, with Mike Nichols winning for Best Director. And, of course, the film made a star out of Dustin Hoffman as the young man seduced by Anne Bancroft's unforgettable Mrs. Robinson.
My husband will be back quite late. He should be gone for several hours.
Oh, my God.
Now, in retrospect, The Graduate seems more like a movie from the late 50s than the mid-1960s, but the film still works as a character study and a dark comedy.
Can I help you, sir?
What? Oh, no. I'm just...
Are you here for an affair, sir?
What?
The Singleman party, sir?
Oh, yes. The Singleman party.
The DVD includes interviews shot when The Graduate had its 25th anniversary, and it has the original theatrical trailer, which gives away the whole movie. Yep, they were even spoiling the story back then.
You know, people ask me sometimes if I've ever changed my mind about a review, and I no longer agree with what I said in my review of The Graduate, that the Simon & Garfunkel songs are instantly forgettable. I don't think that was right. I have a couple of other new videos to recommend this week, and they're both warm-hearted movies about saying goodbye to someone you love. Last Orders is a lovely film about 4 lifelong friends and drinking buddies, played by Michael Caine, Bob Hoskins, Tom Courtney, and David Hemming. When one of them dies, the others gather with his son and his ashes to make a pilgrimage to a place he loves.
This is where... This is where...
The other movie I'm recommending this week is A Walk to Remember, a love story so sweet and positive that it surprised me with its impact. Pop singer Mandy Moore stars as a high school student whose strict father, Peter Coyote, doesn't think she should date. Then her troubled classmate, played by Shane West, comes courting and makes a good impression.
I'm just asking you for the same thing that you teach us every day in church. And that's faith.
It's recommended family viewing. A Walk to Remember and Last Orders both are bittersweet and heartwarming, and they're new on video this week.
Coming up later in the show, Michael Caine plays a super spy dad in Austin Powers in Goldmember.
And coming up next, the mind-twisting crime movie, Who is Cletis tout?
I've got a strong feeling that before the day is out, someone's going to make use of that rather expressive, though somewhat old-fashioned term, foul play.
Tim Allen is a hitman who says he's going to kill escaped convict Christian Slater if a payment arrives on schedule in 90 minutes. The only problem is that leaves Slater time to convince Allen he's not the right man to kill. In fact, he's not the guy that Allen thinks he is. Allen thinks Slater is Cletis tout, but in the movie, Who is Cletis tout? Hardly anyone is who he seems. Fighting against time, Slater tells Allen the real story about how corrupt coroner Billy Connolly set up Slater and partner Richard Dreyfuss with false identities.
This is you. Be careful with this one, man. Somebody set fire to the poor bastard. I have his address and his vitals. I even have his keys. I found them 3 inches deep in his thigh. You're going to have to go to his house and find his passport.
Allen is not only a hitman, but a movie fan who critiques the story as Slater tells it. He approves of the love interest which comes after Slater meets Dreyfuss's daughter, played by Portia de Rossi.
The deal with the birds.
They're homing pigeons. When my father went to prison, they were the only way we could communicate.
Who is Cletis tout is another entry in the recently popular genre of puzzle films like The Usual Suspects, Memento, and Vanilla Sky, where the audience has to figure out what's happening, but it doesn't take itself as seriously as those films. Tim Allen, as the hitman, loves movies, quotes dialogue, and will spare Slater's life if he tells a good story. There are whimsical touches involving the use of carrier pigeons and gangsters who can't shoot straight, and in its quirky, offbeat way, it's fun how the movie plays with the story. I can't quite recommend it, but I do feel a lot of affection for it.
I don't even feel any affection for it. Even the Tim Allen character, he's quoting these movies, but he keeps saying things like Heaven Can Wait, 1978, Paramount, or Dirty Dozen, 1964. I mean, why would you mention the studio?
If you're a fan,
no,
it makes a
no
difference.
movie fan cares what studio some movie was
yes,
released
they
some
do.
movie 30 years ago. I don't think
Warner Brothers had a different look than Paramount.
Well, fine. You know what? That's fine. But I don't think that's a realistic thing, even within the the silliness of this movie. And it starts off with a couple of bad guys in a diner talking pop culture, talking about the movie Deliverance. I saw that 10 years ago at Reservoir Dogs, and I've seen it with a bunch of movies since then. It just tries to be...
Yeah, but you got to admit they make a good point about Deliverance.
No, they don't actually make that good of a point, and that's why somebody else corrects them later on. And it tries really hard to do these interesting things, but I could just feel the screenwriter at every moment tapping away on
I have a feeling that if they had just taken the crime story as is and left off the additional level of the story being told and of Tim Allen and just told the story about this guy being in prison with Richard Dreyfuss and what happens then and the sister and the daughter and the daughter and then it would have worked better.
Not even then. But I'll move on to something I did like.
Good.
It's called My Wife is an Actress, a sharp romantic comedy set in Paris and London about a sports reporter who is married to a sexy movie star and has to cope with her crushing popularity and his insecurities. The story kind of picks up right about the spot where Notting Hill ends. The film was written and directed by Yvonne Attal, who plays the sports reporter, also named Yvonne. Charlotte Gainsbourg, who is married to Attal in real life, plays Yvonne's wife, Charlotte. I would say that probably cut down on the amount of research everybody had to do.
You guys have cheeses. Well, the Roquefort and the Brie de Meaux. What? Brie de Meaux? Oh, le Brie de Meaux. Brie de Meaux, that's it. Love it. Love that Brie de Meaux.
I love that Brie de Meaux. Les mecs, ils donnent tous ces états pour un morceau de fromage.
And the renowned British actor Terence Stamp plays the renowned British actor who's playing Charlotte's latest romantic screen interest.
My wife never came to a shoot. She used to let the storm pass, as she said. Well, that's not a good example because, we don't see each other anymore. I mean, we're not together anymore.
My Wife is an Actress is obviously influenced by Woody Allen's movies about the film business, and it has the raw energy that's been missing from some of Allen's later work. And Yvonne, the writer-director, doesn't spare the neurotic character of Yvonne, who practically shoves Charlotte onto her leading man's lap and then complains that she's a nutty actress who can't be trusted. But Yvonne is just likable enough for us to root for this marriage, though they might consider buying some couples therapy sessions in bulk rate.
You know, this movie didn't quite do it for me. And I'll tell you, one problem was with the husband, who was so clueless and so unwise in almost all of his behavior. Another problem is Terence Stamp, who seems to be so mannered and distant and cynical and manipulative of his women that it's really hard to see how an intelligent woman like this would fall for that.
Well, he's a great actor, though. I mean, in this movie, he's playing a great actor. He's a good actor himself, so that's why, you know, they're in love with him, because he's established this greatness and this sex appeal through his movies. And she's an actress, and actors fall in love with each other in the set. It happens all the time.
Any professional actor or actress knows that when you're off camera, you're a different person, and this guy is such a rat that I can't believe that she would get him.
Oh, he's pretty seductive, and he's smart, and he's good at seducing women. And I think the character of the sports writer is likable enough to recommend this movie. I was rooting for the two of them. And he's not that unwise. He's a smart guy.
Okay. Our next movie is Austin Powers and Goldmember, the third installment of Mike Myers' series about a spy from the 1960s who was frozen and then thawed out in the 1990s. Now it's 2002, and Austin is still battling against Dr. Evil's plans for world domination. Mike Myers plays 4 roles this time. Austin Powers, of course. And Dr. Evil, of course.
Come on, got me a Marlin. Yeah!
And Fat Bastard, of course, who does some sumo wrestling this time.
Prepare for the ultimate wire-fighting maneuver.
And also a new villain, the mysterious Dutch scientist Goldmember. That's Beyonce Knowles from Destiny's Child singing Goldmember's theme song. She turns out to be an undercover spy named Foxy Cleopatra, inspired by the Pam Grier and Tamara Dobson characters. Austin teams up with her after discovering that Dr. Evil has kidnapped his father and is hiding him in 1975. And super spy Michael York briefs him about a time-traveling pitmobile.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
One of Dr. Evil's nefarious plots involves Michael Caine as Austin's father.
What about your Swedish nanny, Helga? Oh, yes, Helga. They say I didn't hire her for the cooking. She stayed on until you were 24.
There are some very funny scenes in Austin Powers and Goldmember, but they're surrounded by too many dry patches. I love the scene involving Austin and Mini-Me, played in silhouette and giving an astonishing impression of Austin's body parts. And another scene where he desperately tries to stand in for a tinkling fountain. And the opening credits are delightful, featuring cameo roles by some of the biggest names in Hollywood. But overall, I thought the movie seemed kind of tired. It may be that there's only so much inspiration to be found in the notion of Austin Powers, and that Mike Myers has found it, and that maybe it's time for him to move on.
Oh, I think this is the funniest of the 3 movies, and I like the first two. I can't believe you're not recommending this. There's so much going on here that it's never tired. It's never dragging. All these different characters. Michael Caine is hilarious. I like Goldmember. I would have liked to see him do more with that.
Yeah,
I think maybe they're a little too enamored with
Goldmember is
the
a character who's not really used at all.
But when he's on there, he's funny. The back and forth is good. I can't believe you're not recommending this. The first 5 minutes alone have so many laughs in them, and part of it is because we have such affection for these characters from the first 2 movies.
So the first 5 minutes involve the big star cameos, and they're funny because you recognize the names, and I give you that.
No, they're funny also because you like these characters that they're lampooning.
There are basically 4 really funny things in the movie, and the rest
I don't think so at all. There are funny punchlines. They're playing off the first 2 movies. They're building. Each sequel is building on the one before it, and I think this is a winning character. I don't see.
So you really believe that people are going back 3 and 4 years and remembering the first movie and seeing how it builds on it?
Of course, because that's what a lot of the humor springs from that, our knowledge and our affection for these characters.
Okay, looking ahead to what's opening next week, we'll review Julia Roberts and David Duchovny in Full Frontal.
Well, as we said earlier, we're not recommending The Country Bears, but there are some good family films still playing in theaters.
I like the other movie about the animal living in the human world, Stuart Little 2. I thought that was really better than the first Stuart Little.
Yeah, I like that one as well. And like Mike, I think is good with Bow Wow and a little basketball player story. That's a sweet family film. There's some good stuff there.
Crocodile Hunter. Surprising.
Oh, yeah. Crikey, I forgot about him.
And, of course, Lilo and Stitch, which you didn't like, but I think is really going to be a classic.
And Spirit, Stallion and the Cimarron, still playing in some theaters.
So some family movie ideas, and we'll be right back.
Visit our website, ebertandroeper.tv. Presented by the Walt Disney Collection.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs up for Signs. It opens next week. 2 thumbs down for The Country Bears. 2 thumbs down for Who is Cletis Tout? We split on My Wife as an Actress, and we split again on Austin Powers and Goldmember.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroeper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Clint Eastwood as a retired federal agent haunted by a serial killer in Bloodwork. And until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, I wonder if you're such a fan of Austin Powers that you kind of brought a lot of your own energy to the film that really wasn't there on the screen.
No, I'm such a fan that I really appreciate that Mike Myers doesn't just repeat himself, that he does new things with each sequel of these films.
That I can give these 4 funny segment thumbs up.
There's hot summer savings going on now at your hometown Brand Source store. Brand Source, your neighborhood appliance, electronics, and home furnishings expert.
Right now at Baskin-Robbins, take home 2 pre-packed quarts for just $6. It's the perfect time to try something new. Baskin-Robbins, what's your flavor?
For testing, treating symptoms, or helping to prevent urinary tract infections, the #1 name is Azo. That's A-Z-O. Azo.
What do you love about AOL?
AOL has set me in contact with all my friends, my family.
You got mail.
Everything I need, all in one place. America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
When it comes to brake service, trust Meineke. I do. Now get 50% off lifetime fares and shoes. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.